Welcome, brave hobbyists, to the Unpainted Horde, the podcast dedicated to celebrating and sometimes lamenting the glorious world of tabletop miniatures. I'm Finn.
And I'm Luna. We're here to wallow in the plastic shame alongside you and talk about some of the biggest and smallest miniatures games out there and all those in between. Each week, we'll be diving into rule sets, miniature ranges, painting tips, and everything else that fuels our plastic crack addictions.
So this time we're diving into a game called Reign in Hell, and I've got an expert here with me to help us crack open this rule book.
All right, let's make a deal with the devil and get into it.
So, yeah, this looks to be a pretty unique skirmish war game.
Yeah.
Set in, you guessed it, hell.
Right, and what's super cool about this game is it's miniatures-agnostic, so you can use whatever miniatures you've got.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I got like boxes and boxes of demons from all sorts of games. I can just use whatever I want.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really all about like bringing your own vision of hell to the tabletop.
That is so cool. I love that. So I was skimming through this rule book a little bit, and the lore is really interesting. It turns out hell wasn't always this like crazy chaotic place, you know?
Yeah.
It was actually once ruled by this super organized system called the Directorate.
Yeah, the Directorate, it was all about like efficiency and order. You know, maximizing soul energy extraction. That was their whole thing.
So like a well-oiled machine of infernal bureaucracy?
Pretty much, yeah.
But they didn't last forever, did they?
No, they did not. Their downfall is, it's a pretty wild story, actually.
Okay. I'm all ears.
So it all started with a human grandmother.
Wait, a what? A grandmother?
Yeah, seriously, it seems she caught a demon disguised as like a mephit, you know.
Oh, yeah, like one of those little pesky imp things?
Exactly. Well, this mephit was trying to lure her grandchild away.
Oh, no?
But the grandmother, she wasn't having it.
So what happened?
She knew how to trap it with cold iron.
Cold iron? Like from the fairy tales?
Yeah, it turns out those old stories about cold iron working on fey creatures, well, it applies to demons, too.
Wow, so this grandmother, she outsmarted a demon and ended up bringing down the whole Directorate.
Well, it wasn't quite that simple, but her actions definitely played a part in it.
Okay. But still, that is some serious granny power right there.
Oh, yeah. Definitely don't mess with grandmas.
So, with the Directorate gone, what happened to hell?
Well, it pretty much descended into chaos, you know. All these different demon factions started vying for power.
Oh, so like a power vacuum.
Exactly. And each of these factions has its own philosophy on how to reshape hell.
So that's where the game comes in, right?
That's right. We get to choose from these different philosophies to build our own demon cabal.
Okay, so we're not just playing as like a generic horde of demons.
Nope. You get to pick a faction that aligns with your playstyle and your vision of hell.
I like that. So tell me more about these philosophies.
Well, you've got the Lords of Hell, who are all about like brute force and reestablishing order.
Okay, so like the old guard trying to reclaim their power.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Then you've got the Earthbound, who are obsessed with the mortal world.
Oh, so like they're the ones who are always tempting humans and causing mischief up there.
Yep, pretty much. And then there are the Demented, who are all about warping reality itself.
Whoa, okay, so like they're the masters of illusion and trickery.
Exactly. They can like twist the very fabric of hell to their will.
That sounds super cool.
Mm-hmm.
What other philosophies are there?
Well, there are the Brokers, who are all about making deals and manipulating souls. They're the wheelers and dealers of hell.
Okay, I can see that like they'd be the masters of negotiation and subterfuge.
Right. And then you have the Judges, who are obsessed with punishing the wicked.
Ah, so like the enforcers of hell's laws.
Yeah, they believe in a twisted kind of justice.
And lastly, we have...
The empty. Those are the ones who are drawn to the void and the nothingness beyond hell. They seek to unravel all of existence.
Okay, now that is terrifying. So each philosophy isn't just like a cool name.
No, each one comes with its own unique abilities and playstyle.
Okay, so my choice of philosophy is going to really impact how I play the game.
Absolutely. It's not just about aesthetics. It's about strategy, too.
I love that.
Yeah.
So how do we go from choosing a philosophy to like actually building a demon warband?
Well, the first step is to choose a leader for your cabal.
Ah, so like the big boss demon.
Exactly. And there are 3 types of leaders to choose from.
Okay, lay it on me.
You got the warrior, who is like your frontline brawler.
So the one who leads the charge into battle?
Yep. Then there's the schemer, who relies on cunning and trickery to outwit their opponents.
Ooh, so like a master manipulator.
Exactly. And finally, you got the zealot, who inspires their minions with fanatical fervor.
Ah, so like a religious leader rallying their troops.
Pretty much, yeah.
So each leader type has like a different way of approaching combat.
Definitely your choice of leader will really shape your cabal's fighting style.
And can we customize our leaders even further?
Absolutely. You can give them essences and relics.
Okay, so what are those?
Essences are like permanent upgrades that enhance your leader's abilities.
So like giving them extra strength or making them tougher.
Exactly. And relics are powerful items that your leader can equip.
Oh, so like magic weapons and armor and stuff.
Yeah, things like that. And you can even swap relics between different demons in your cabal.
Oh, wow. So like if I've got a really powerful weapon, I can give it to whichever demon needs it most.
That's right. It adds a lot of flexibility to the game.
I like that. Okay, so we've got our philosophy and our leader all decked out with essences and relics. What's next?
Well, you need to choose a devout demon.
A devout demon. What's that?
Think of it like your lieutenant.
Okay.
It's a powerful demon who embodies your chosen philosophy.
Oh, so they're like my right-hand demon.
Exactly. They're the one who's going to be leading the charge alongside your leader.
Awesome. So we've got our big boss demon. And now it's time to fill out the ranks with minions, right?
And there's a whole horde of nasty creatures to choose from.
Okay, hit me with some examples.
You've got your classic imps, who are small and pesky, but they can swarm your enemies.
Oh yeah, those guys are always a pain to deal with.
Then there are the brutes, who are like your heavy hitters. They're slow, but they hit hard.
Okay, so like the tanks of the demon world.
Yeah, something like that. And then you've got all sorts of other creatures with unique abilities, like the Tempter, who can seduce enemy demons to your side,
Whoa, okay, that's awesome.
and the Shadow, who can teleport around the battlefield.
Sounds like I'm gonna have a lot of fun building my warband.
You definitely will.
So I've got my philosophy, my leader, my devout, and a horde of demonic minions. What's next? Do we just point them at the enemy and let them loose?
Not quite. You need to finalize your cabal on the play sheet.
The play sheet. What's
It's basically your demon roster. It's where you track all their stats, abilities, and any relics or essences they have.
so like my cheat sheet during the game.
Exactly. Keeps everything organized.
Okay, so play sheet ready, demons prepped. Let's get this demonic party started. Walk me through how a typical game unfolds.
All right, so the first thing you do is you set up the battlefield with your opponent.
Okay, and what about terrain? Does that matter in this game?
Oh, yeah. Terrain is super important in Reign in Hell.
Really? How so?
It's not just for looks, it actually impacts gameplay.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
You've got all sorts of different terrain features like ruins, shrines, swamps, forests. Each one offers advantages or disadvantages to certain demon types.
So like a forest might provide cover for my sneaky imps.
Exactly, and a swamp could slow down a lumbering brute demon.
Okay, so it's not just about who has the biggest, baddest demons.
Yeah.
It's about using the terrain to your advantage.
Yeah, strategy is key in this game.
I like that.
Yeah.
So we've got our battlefield all set up. What happens next?
Then we roll for initiative.
Okay, and how does that work?
You roll a d12 for each of your demons,
A D12.
and the results determine the activation order for the entire round.
Wait, so we know the whole activation order right from the start? That's different from most skirmish games I've played.
Yeah, it's a unique system, and it adds a whole new layer of strategy.
How so?
Well, you have to anticipate your opponent's moves based on knowing who will activate when.
Oh, so it becomes like a demonic chess match.
Pretty much. Yeah, you got to think several steps ahead.
It adds a bit of mind games to the mayhem. So once my demon is activated, what can I do?
Well, each demon has several actions to choose from.
Okay.
They can run and skirmish, which lets them move and attack in the same turn.
So like darting around the battlefield, peppering the enemy with attacks.
They sack up.
What other actions are there?
They can charge, which is like an all-out assault.
Okay, so like crashing into the enemy lines.
Yep. And they can also use focused combat.
Focused combat.
What's that? It lets you hunker down and boost both your attack and defense for a turn.
Oh, so like bracing for impact?
Pretty much, yeah. It's perfect for weathering a tough enemy assault.
Okay, so I've got options. Yeah, and then let's talk about the main event combat. How do you make these demons clash?
All right, so combat is pretty straightforward. You roll a number of d6 equal to your demon's combat score,
Okay.
and you're trying to hit a target number, which varies depending on the enemy's defense.
So far, so good.
Each roll that meets or beats the target number is a hit,
Okay.
and then the defender rolls to negate some of that damage.
So it's like a back and forth.
Yeah.
But this is hell, right? It can't be all straightforward dice rolls. There's got to be some extra spice, some infernal twist to the combat.
You're absolutely right, and that's where soul dice come in.
Soul dice. Tell me more.
So when a demon is slain, nearby demons can harvest their soul energy.
Oh, that's brutal.
It is, and they collect this energy in the form of soul dice.
Okay, what do these soul dice do?
They're like your wild cards.
Wild cards.
You can use them to reroll attacks, boost damage, or even negate enemy hits.
So even in death, my demons can help fuel my victory.
Exactly. It's a very hellish concept.
I love it.
Yeah.
It adds a whole new layer of strategy to the game.
Definitely. Do you go for the quick kill to deny your opponent soul dice? Or do you focus on a key target even if it takes longer?
Tough choices. I can see how those decisions would really impact the flow of the battle. This is all starting to click together. I'm feeling ready to raise some hell.
Good, but we've only scratched the surface. Reign in Hell offers so much more depth, especially with its campaign mode.
Ooh, campaign mode. Tell me more.
So campaign mode, it's where things really get interesting. Instead of just playing one-off battles, you can create a whole saga for your demon warband.
Oh, that sounds cool. So, like, my demons can actually grow and evolve over time.
Exactly. They gain experience, earn titles based on their actions, and even find powerful relics and essences.
So it's like a role-playing game almost.
Yeah, kind of. You're building a narrative alongside your gameplay.
I like that. And you mentioned titles. What are those?
So as your demons survive battles and achieve victories, they can earn titles based on their actions.
Okay, give me some examples.
Well, if your imp manages to take down a much larger demon, it could earn a title like Giant Slayer.
Oh, that's awesome.
And these titles aren't just for bragging rights, they actually grant bonuses and further customize your demons.
So like my Giant Slayer imp would get a bonus to fighting bigger demons.
Yeah, something like that.
That's so cool. So even death isn't the end for my demons in campaign mode.
Right, when a demon is slain, you roll on the soul loss table.
The soul loss table. What's that?
It's basically a random table of effects that can happen to your demon when they die.
Okay, and what kind of effects are we talking about?
Well, they might come back weaker or stronger, or they might even gain a bizarre new ability.
So like my demon could die and come back as like a zombie demon?
Well, not exactly a zombie, but you get the idea.
Okay, so death is more like a setback than a permanent loss.
Right. It's all part of the story.
I love that it keeps things unpredictable. So with all this talk about campaign mode, I'm really starting to get an itch to play this game. But before we unleash our inner demon lords, let's talk about the scenarios.
Yeah. Reign in Hell comes with a bunch of different scenarios, each offering a unique challenge.
Okay, give me a taste of these scenarios.
Well, there's the classic King of the Hill, where you battle for control of a central location.
So like a good old-fashioned territorial dispute.
Exactly. It's simple, but it's always a fun challenge.
What else is there?
Then we have Relic Hunters, where you race against your opponent to collect powerful artifacts scattered across the battlefield.
Okay, so like a treasure hunt?
Yeah, kinda. It's all about speed and cunning.
I like that. What other scenarios caught your eye?
One that really stands out is the Beast.
The Beast. What's that?
So imagine a massive, uncontrollable demon just wreaking havoc on the battlefield.
Oh, that sounds terrifying.
Your goal is to either kill it or, even more challenging, try to control it.
Control it, like make it my pet demon.
Well, maybe not a pet, but you can temporarily bend it to your will.
Wow, okay, that's risky.
It is. If you fail, it could turn on you.
But the rewards must be pretty huge if you succeed.
They are. If you manage to control the beast, you can sacrifice it after the game for a bonus essence for your leader. Or if you slay it outright, you get bonus souls, and the demon who delivered the final blow earns the Beast Slayer title.
Talk about a story to tell around the gaming table. What other scenarios push the boundaries of a typical skirmish game?
The prison is another fascinating one.
Okay, tell me more.
So there's this ancient and powerful demon who's trapped within a central terrain piece bound by 4 towers.
Oh.
Your goal is to control those towers and free the demon.
Sounds simple enough.
But there's a catch. The outcome is uncertain. You might end up with a trickster demon who vanishes, or a warrior demon who goes berserk and attacks everyone, or if you're lucky, a knowledge demon who bestows wisdom upon your leader.
So it's a gamble.
It is, but the potential rewards are huge.
I love that it adds an element of surprise to the game. So these scenarios, they're not just about like mindlessly fighting.
No, each one has its own unique objectives and challenges.
It really makes you think outside the box.
Exactly.
This is making me really appreciate the depth of Reign in Hell. It's not just about throwing dice and moving miniatures. It's about crafting a narrative, making strategic choices, and building a legend for your demon warband.
You're getting it. That's what makes this game so special.
I'm really impressed. But before we get too lost in the campaign mode, there's one more thing we need to discuss.
Yeah.
The miniatures themselves. Okay, so let's talk about the stars of the show, right? The miniatures. What kind of demonic hordes can we assemble for Reign in Hell?
Well, this is where things get really fun. Because remember how we talked about Reign in Hell being miniatures-agnostic? That means you can use any miniatures you want.
Seriously, any miniatures at all?
As long as they fit the recommended base sizes.
So like if I have a a box of misfit demons from all different games and manufacturers, they can all find a home here.
Absolutely. It's all about bringing your vision of hell to the tabletop,
Oh, I love that. No more feeling limited by like a specific range of miniatures.
Right.
So I could use like classic horned devils or Lovecraftian horrors or even something totally unique.
Yeah, it's all good.
This is so cool. It really opens up the creative possibilities.
It does. And the game mechanics themselves actually support this kind of creative freedom.
Oh, really?
How so?
Well, think about all the different philosophies and leader types and essences and relics, even the soul lost table, all these elements they combine to create endless possibilities for customization.
So you're not just picking a pre-made army list.
No, you're crafting a warband that evolves with every game.
When we first started talking about Reign in Hell, I was excited about like the idea of a skirmish game set in hell. But now I'm really appreciating how much thought and detail has gone into making this game more than just another miniatures game. I agree. I think that's what sets Reign in Hell apart. It's a game that respects your creativity and rewards your strategic thinking.
Yeah, and it lets you build a narrative alongside your gameplay.
Exactly.
So for all our listeners out there who love miniatures games and are looking for something fresh, something with a dark and compelling theme, something that lets them unleash their creativity, what's the one key takeaway you would leave them with?
I'd say this Reign in Hell isn't just about winning battles. It's about building a legend. It's about taking those demons you've collected, those stories you've imagined, and bringing them to life on the tabletop.
I love that. And on that note, I think we've covered pretty much everything you need to know to dive into the fiery depths of Reign in Hell.
Yeah, we've gone over the rules, the scenarios, the miniatures.
So to all our listeners out there, go forth, assemble your warbands, and let the battles begin.
And may the best demon lord win.
Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll see you next time. Well, that's all the time we have for this week, folks. Thanks for joining us on the Unpainted Horde. We hope you learned something, and maybe even feel a little bit better about that mountain of unpainted miniatures looming over you.
Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you get your podcasts. It really helps us spread the word and justify our addiction. Until next time, may your dice rolls be ever in your favor, and may your primer coats be thin.
This podcast was created with significant help from Google Notebook LM.